Hi friends, welcome to Beer Bellies. I'm Nate, and we're BBQing on the 4th of July with a bourbon barrel quad. What I say, Beer Belly?
You're like, welcome to Beer Belly.
Welcome to the Beer Belly. So I'm excited to have our first American quadruple here. This is the Bourbon Barrel Quad by our friends at Boulevard Brewing Company over in Kansas City, Missouri. So this isn't really traditional compared to the other quads that I've had, but it's a good time to introduce kind of a new face to the quadruple series. So what Boulevard was able to do was take a classic recipe and add that bourbon flavor to it by adding those barrels, and it really pumps up this beer a lot. This is one of my all-time favorite beers because I am able sometimes to get out of that tradition that we get stuck in and just kind of try new things with these quadruples. So this quadruple is a little more transparent than some of the other ones, but has that ruby color to it that we have seen before. It's got almost no head on it. The smell is a perfect combination of the sweet plum and raisin smell of the quads, but you also get a hint of that bourbon as well. Yeah, and the taste of it is a marriage of the two for sure. So you certainly get that bourbon flavor from the barrel aging, but there are also those classic stone fruit flavors from the quadruple as well. So I picked up a 4-pack of these for $15, which puts it at 31 cents per ounce. It's 11.2% ABV, so it's a whopper. Compared to a traditional quadruple, you get less of that Belgian yeast flavor on it. I think that's maybe overshadowed or kind of diminished by that bourbon flavor that you get from the aging. So there's nothing particularly interesting about the history on this. It really just is a American craft brewing company making a pretty good quad and then throwing it in some bourbon barrels to add some of that good down-home American flavor to it. I think probably my preferred times to drink a beer like this would be at the end of the night. I never really would start a day with a big bourbon barrel quad like this. It's gonna make everything else seem boring. There's no particular meal I would recommend this with, any kind of grilling out, steaks, dark meats, anything like that. Whatever you prefer to drink your bourbon with, this would pair the same way. I usually prefer it as a nightcap as opposed to something that I would have with a meal. So I usually get geeked up for this beer because it's a combination of two things that I really love the best. I love barrel-aged beers, especially bourbon barrel-aged beers, and I love quadruples. So putting these two together is pretty much just, my utopia. 3 quick points on this beer. Firstly, it may not be traditional, but it still has a good quadruple recipe as the backbone for the beer. And second point, the price is actually quite a bit lower than the import quads, which is nice, especially for a barrel-aged beer. And lastly, if you don't like bourbon and you don't like quads, this beer is not going to be for you. So with that, I want to thank you for watching this episode of Beer Bellies. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave any requested reviews in the comments. Cheers. I'm just glad that's over.